Hello everyone and welcome to Releasing the Unreleased, the series where I talk about games that never saw the light of day. I always feel like unreleased games are such an enigma. What happened behind the scenes to lead to this? What would the game have been like? What would change about this franchise's canon if this did come out? The game we are talking about today, I remember back when I found out about this game decades ago, I was super disappointed this didn't come out. Sonic 16. Sonic 16, also simply known as Sonic the Hedgehog, would have been a 2D side-scrolling game, really what you would expect from a Sonic game at that time. There was one key element that made this game super interesting that you probably could deduce just from seeing the title screen. This game would have been based off of the American Saturday morning cartoon series created by Deke Entertainment. We would have gotten a game on the Sega Genesis that would have not just had cameos from, but starred characters like Sally Acorn, Bunny Rabbit, Rotor Walrus, and Antoine de Coulette. From the pitch video that they show, we see Sonic in what looks like one of Robotnik's bases in Robotropolis. He hides and takes care of the security cameras and SWAT bots before meeting up with Sally Acorn at the end and running inside the base. From this pitch video, there are two major factors that seem to jump out. Firstly, it seems this game has quite an emphasis on stealth. Hiding from cameras and SWAT bots seems to suggest that not only do we need to be speedy, but we also have to be sneaky. The other thing that pops out is that Sonic seems considerably slower than in his original game counterpart, needing the player to be more careful when traversing the environments. Later interviews with the game's creator Peter Morawek states that he fully intended on putting sections in this game where Sonic's iconic speed would be the forefront. There's so many interesting quirks with just this tiny little pitch video. For one thing, Sonic seems to be able to move up and down as well as left and right. Not that unlike a beat-em-up game like Double Dragon or River City Ransom. There was also a hide mechanic as well, which really shows that stealth was going to be a major part of the game. Sonic would have also had multiple attacks too, including a ring attack, his iconic buzzsaw move, and a spike blast attack where he would shoot his quills in 8 directions. So much substance in just one little pitch video. So, with such a solid idea and the cartoon backing it up, why did it get the can? In 1992, Sega was interested in taking their newest successful IP, Sonic the Hedgehog, and running with him. Pun entirely intended. They decided to hire Roger Hector, who previously worked on Disney's computer game division, and put him on to be the technical director of a lot of Sonic's American-made games. One such game that he directed was the other Sonic game that featured the Freedom Fighters, Sonic Spinball. After Sonic Spinball was released, Roger Hector took some developers from Sega Technical Institute, or STI, and brought them to Deke's Animation Studios in California to show them the pilot for a new Sonic cartoon series they were working on. The game developers weren't really that interested in the cartoon at all, but regardless, he wanted them to make a spin-off game based on the property. The one who ended up taking on the task were two major developers. The first one, who came up with the idea for the pitch video in the first place, was Peter Morawek, an artist and game designer who was responsible for the special stage art and CG in Sonic 2, and the design of Sonic Spinball as a whole. Morawek wanted to create a gameplay style that was more focused on story than action. That way it could be tied to the cartoon more easily. Alongside him was STI art director John Duggan, who was the art director for Sonic Spinball and The Ooze. Together, they created the look and feel of the game that they would soon pitch to Sega, taking them about a week to finish. In November of 1993, the pitch video was shown off to the higher-ups at Sega and eventually shown to Yuji Naka himself. Unfortunately for Morawek and Duggan, Yuji Naka gave the thumbs down. Not only was it criticized for being very slow, especially for a Sonic game, it was also a risky move business-wise at the time. Peter Morawek said in an interview, "The cartoon wasn't even out, so banking on its success would have been premature, and too many spin-offs for a fresh new franchise are likely to do more harm than good." Apparently they didn't apply this lesson again, considering Sonic Boom has 3 games. Ultimately, STI decided to cancel Sonic 16 and instead focus all of their efforts on Comix Zone. Considering that they knew from the get-go that this would be nothing more than a spin-off based off of the animated show, and there was no effort to have this be a part of the main series, I feel like the Sonic canon wouldn't be very much affected. That being said though, I don't think it would be that out of the question that we'd have more than one game based off of the Saturday morning cartoon, considering how successful it was. With that, it would probably be much easier to get the Freedom Fighters in a future video game. It's not a secret that Ian Flynn really wants to bring back all of the Freedom Fighters and put them in the main games, but the only bit of way he can really justify them being put in the games instead of being dead with the comics was the fact that they were in Sonic Spinball. He'd probably have an easier time convincing Sega if they had a full game or two based on the property, especially with how much modern Sonic loves doing callbacks to previous games. I'm not guaranteeing the Freedom Fighters would have been in the games if this came out, just saying that it'd be more likely. That concludes today's episode of Releasing the Unreleased. What did you guys think of Sonic 16? Put your thoughts in the comments below and let's discuss. I love reading your guys' comments, and if I heart your comment, that means I read it. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday in order to catch our live streams. The games we'll be playing will be put up on screen right now. Also tune in on Friday for our review of Kirby's Dream Buffet. Let's give a special shout out to our channel members, Andrew Retro Games and FBear05 for being the most well-esteemed guests of them all. If you want to get a shout out in every video, make sure you click the join button to become a channel member, and you'll be able to see these videos as soon as I'm done with them, as opposed to the regularly scheduled times. We also have our merch store in the description below where we got some nifty shirts, mugs, and stickers in order to power up your gameplay experience. Want to drink your sorrows away knowing that the Freedom Fighters are dead forever? Drink some chalky milk out of our mugs and everything will feel alright once again. With that, I bid you, our well-esteemed guests, adieu.